Give me 5 minutes. I'll change your mindset. What if I told you that the life you are living right now is deeply influenced by something you rarely notice, your mindset? Not your money, not your background, not even your circumstances as much as you might think. The biggest factor shaping how you experience life is the way you think about it. Give me a few minutes, and I want to show you something powerful. Something that might quietly change the way you see your struggles, your future, and even yourself. Most people believe their life is controlled by what happens to them. If things go wrong, they assume life is simply unfair. If something good happens, they think they just got lucky. But psychology tells us something very different. What truly shapes our experience of life is not just what happens, but how our mind interprets it. Two people can face the exact same situation and walk away with completely different feelings and completely different futures. Imagine two people who lose their job. The first person immediately thinks, "This always happens to me. I'm unlucky. My life is falling apart." That thought creates fear, stress, and hopelessness. The person might stop trying, lose confidence, and start believing that nothing will ever work out. Now imagine the second person facing the exact same situation. They feel disappointed, of course, but their thought is different. They say to themselves, "This hurts, but maybe it's a chance to try something new. Maybe there's another opportunity waiting." The situation didn't change. The world didn't change. Only the mindset changed. Yet that small difference can completely change the direction of a person's life. The reason this happens is because our brain works like a filter. Every day thousands of things happen around us, but our brain cannot process everything. So it focuses on what it believes is important. If you constantly believe that nothing good happens to you, your brain will automatically look for proof of that belief. It will highlight failures, mistakes, disappointments, and negative moments. Positive moments might still happen, but your mind will ignore them or forget them quickly. But something interesting happens when you shift your belief even slightly. If you begin to think, maybe things can improve, your brain starts noticing different things. Suddenly you see opportunities you ignored before. You notice small progress. You recognize people who want to help you. The world itself hasn't changed, but the way you see it has. And once that filter changes, your decisions start changing too. Another powerful truth about mindset is that your brain is not fixed. Many people think their personality and thinking patterns are permanent. They believe if they have always been negative, anxious, or doubtful, that's just who they are. But science has discovered something incredible called neuroplasticity. This simply means your brain is always capable of changing. Every thought you repeat strengthens certain connections in your brain. When you constantly repeat thoughts like, "I can't do this," "I'm stuck," or "nothing will ever improve," those thoughts become stronger pathways in your mind. But the opposite is also true. When you begin practicing different thoughts, even small ones, your brain slowly starts building new pathways. Thoughts like, "I'll figure it out," "This situation is temporary," or "I can learn from this," begin to reshape the way your mind reacts to challenges. At first it may feel unnatural, because your brain is used to the old pattern. But with repetition, the new way of thinking becomes stronger. Eventually, it becomes your natural mindset. Another reason mindset is so powerful is because it changes how we respond to problems. Many people believe successful or confident individuals simply have easier lives. But often that isn't true. The difference is not the absence of problems, but the presence of a stronger mindset. When something goes wrong, a negative mindset immediately assumes the worst. It says, "This proves I'm failing," or "This will never get better." A growth mindset, however, responds differently. It asks questions like, "What can I learn from this?" or "What is the next step I can take?" That simple shift in thinking can change behavior completely. Instead of giving up, a person keeps trying. Instead of feeling powerless, they look for solutions. Over time, those small responses create big changes in their life. Mindset also affects how we see ourselves. Many people walk through life carrying quiet beliefs about who they are. Some believe they are not talented enough. Others believe they are not attractive enough, smart enough, or strong enough. These beliefs may start in childhood or come from difficult experiences. But once the mind accepts them as truth, they quietly shape every decision a person makes. Someone who believes they are not capable might avoid opportunities, even when they have the ability to succeed. But when that belief changes, everything begins to shift. A person who starts thinking, "Maybe I'm still learning," instead of "I'm not good enough," suddenly becomes more open to trying new things. Confidence doesn't always appear instantly, but the direction changes. And direction is what matters most. One of the most important things to understand is that mindset doesn't change life overnight. It works slowly and quietly. It shows up in the small thoughts you have every day. The thought you have when you wake up in the morning. The thought you have after making a mistake. The thought you have when something doesn't go as planned. These small thoughts seem insignificant, but over time they shape your confidence, your motivation, and your actions. And your actions shape your future. So here's something simple you can try right now. Pause for a moment and ask yourself 3 questions. What story am I constantly telling myself about my life? Is that story helping me grow or holding me back? And what would change if I chose a slightly stronger belief? You don't need to become perfectly positive overnight. Sometimes the biggest change begins with a very small shift in perspective. Your mindset is like a pair of glasses through which you see the world. If the lens is negative, everything appears darker and heavier. Problems feel bigger and hope feels distant. But when the lens changes, you begin to notice things you never saw before. Possibilities, lessons, progress, and growth slowly become visible. And here is the truth many people discover later in life. Your life doesn't change the day everything around you changes. Your life begins to change the day your thinking changes. Sometimes that shift begins with one idea, one realization, or even one short moment of awareness. And sometimes, it only takes 5 minutes to start seeing things differently.